So brothers and sisters, the last time I spoke to you was several months back. Much has passed since then. The last time I spoke, some of the brethren said they think that the message required a part 2. Well, the Lord so desires that you're going to get a part 2 now. We're not going to rush, because the Lord does things in His own time. So our topic is Watchman, What of the Night? And quite ably read by our sister Loretta. I'm going to read to emphasize a few important points in the discussion. So we're at Isaiah 21 verse 6 to 12. And the Word of God says, "For thus hath the Lord said unto me, Go, set a watchman, let him declare what he seeth. And he saw a chariot with a couple of horsemen, a chariot of asses, and a chariot of camels. And he hearkened diligently with much heed. And he cried, A lion! My Lord, I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward whole nights. And behold, here cometh a chariot of men with a couple of horsemen. And he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. And all the graven images of our gods are he hath broken unto the ground. O my threshing floor, and the corn of my floor, that which I have heard of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, have I declared unto you. The burden of Duma he called to me out of Seir. Watchman, what of the night? Watchman, what of the night? The watchman said, The morning cometh, and also the night. If you will inquire, inquire ye. Return, come. Isaiah 21 verse 6 says, For thus hath the Lord said unto me, Go set a watchman, let him declare what he see. First question we're going to ask is this: who is this watchman? The picture here is a sense of urgency. There's a watchman on the wall of Zion. And has been told here, the word says, Go and set a watchman. Who is this watchman on the wall of Zion? Well, we don't need to guess. Child Guidance says, God has appointed the church as a watchman. I hope you're hearing. And as a sentinel to see the approach of the enemy and give warning of danger, but the church does not realize the situation. She's sleeping and dark. So we just read Isaiah 21 verse 6 to 12. We're going to make a spiritual application. And God is instructing, go and set a watchman on the walls of Zion. And we have learned that that watchman is the church God has set on the wall of Zion. Now Ezekiel chapter 33 and verse 6 and 7 give us some very pertinent instruction on the responsibility of a watchman. Verse 6 says, Ezekiel 33 verse 6 says, But if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity. But his blood will I require of the what? The watchman's hand. I pray by God's grace that when I finish this sermon, my hands will be clean. Because I don't intend to hold back anything. I intend to give all warning. Verse 7 says, So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth, and warn them for me. So it was such that, as I'm illustrating here, that a watchman would stand in the wall, and he would be on a lookout and look and see if there is coming danger. And he had a trumpet in his hand. And if he saw a danger, he was to give a what? Give a warning. And evangelism says that if every watchman on the walls of Zion had given the trumpet a certain sound, we got it, friends. A certain sound, not a misunderstood sound. A sound that says, there's trouble in the land. Not a sound of merriment and dancing and gaiety. No! The watchman's job was to give a certain sound. The world ere this have heard the message of warning. But the work is years behind, friends. While men are slept, Satan has stolen a march upon us. So I ask the question, watchman, what do you see? The answer is given in Isaiah 21 verse 8. And he cried, a lion, my Lord. I stand continually upon the watchtower. I'm in the watchtower now. The watchtower is the pulpit. So as I stand in this watchtower on the walls of Zion, what do I see as a watchman? I see a lion in the daytime. And I sit in my ward whole night. So day and night, the watchman is on watch. What do you see, watchman? I see a lion. What's the significance of this lion? Let's not guess. Jeremiah 50 verse 17 tells us who the lion is. Israel's scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. This Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had broken his bones. So the lion represents who? Babylon. So as the watchman stands in the pulpit, taking a view of the land, the question is asked, watchman, what do you see? I see Babylon, I see a lion. No, clearly, this is a spiritual application that would apply to this. So, who is spiritual Babylon? Well, we don't need to guess. We can go to the book of Revelation 17, verse 4 and 5. The word of God makes it quite clear. Verse 4 says, and a woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and the filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So the Bible is saying to us, in the spiritual application, that Babylon is a woman. Are you following so far, brethren? Babylon is a woman. So the watchman looking out saying, I am seeing Babylon, I'm seeing a woman. So the question, who does a woman represent in Bible prophecy? Well, we don't want to guess. 2 Corinthians 11 verse 2 gives us great clarity. For I am jealous over you with godly jealousy. For I have exposed to you to one husband, that I may present you with a chaste virgin to Christ. So clearly we see here a woman in Bible prophecy represents a church or a religious system in Bible prophecy. That's pretty clear, friends. But you know, friends, while the watchman is looking out in the pulpit and sees a church is the issue of concern, this woman, lion, Babylon, this woman, the Lord doesn't leave us to guess who this woman is. Revelation 17 verse 4 gives us some very salient identifying features. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet. We see the bishops here in purple and we see the cardinals here in scarlet. Decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. And having a golden cup in her hand, that cup that's used for the service. So friends, we don't have to extend the point too long to conclude that this woman in purple and scarlet, this woman we're talking about, this lion, Babylon, the woman, the church, Mystery Babylon is the Roman Catholic Church system. So I want us to listen carefully. God has set watchmen on the wall of Zion. And God asks, watchman, what do you see? And the watchman should be seeing what's going on with the Roman Catholic Church system. Because he sees a lion, he sees Babylon, Babylon he sees a woman. Who is the woman here? Roman Catholic Church system. But it goes on to explain to us that this woman had daughters. Verse 5 says, Babylon the Great, the mother of what? Harlots and abominations of the earth. Well, Psalm 137, 7 and 8 gives us an idea of who these daughters are. It says, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of who? Babylon, who are to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. So we see here that children of Edom is being described in the context of an apostate Protestantism. So the mother of Babylon, Roman Catholic Church state system, with her daughter's apostate Protestantism, is in view as the watchman looks from the wall of Zion. But it gets even more interesting, brethren. Revelation 17 verse 3 says, the woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast. A scarlet-colored beast? What's a beast in Bible prophecy? We don't have to guess again. Let the Bible speak for itself. Daniel 7:23 tells us that beast in Bible prophecy is a what? Kingdom. So the fourth beast shall be the fourth what? Kingdom. So a beast in Bible prophecy is a kingdom. So what can we say so far, friends? We can say Babylon, this Roman Catholic church system, is sitting in control of our kingdom because she rides a beast. But it's just not any beast, friends. It's a beast having 7 heads and what? 10 horns. Let's spend some time as a watchman looks through and looks forward to this lion. What is the significance of these 10 horns? So we see here, we see a church, Roman Catholic church system, in control of a kingdom, riding a beast. But we are told the beast has a distinct feature, 10 horns. But what are these 10 horns? We have to guess again, let the Bible explain itself. And the Word of God says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 what? 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings, one over the beast. So we can conclude so far, brethren, that Babylon's Roman Catholic church system is sitting in control of a kingdom made of 10 kings. Are you following me so far? Babylon, this Roman Catholic church system, is sitting in control of a kingdom made of 10 kings. Now in 1973, the Club of Rome issued a report that was entitled Regionalize an Adaptive Model of the Global World System. In this report, a map is shown which divides the world into 10 political or economic regions. And it was so divided, friends. So in 1973, the Club of Rome, that's a think tank for Rome, geopolitical think tank, divided the world into 10 regions. And the regions look like this is what they're conceptualized in. NAFTA, the North American region, America, Canada, and Mexico. The EU, European Union. Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. 5, Eastern Europe, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Russia, former countries of the Soviet Union. 6, Central and South America, Cuba, and Caribbean islands. 7, Middle East and North Africa. 8, the rest of Africa except South Africa. 9, South and Southeast Asia, including India. And 10, Mongolia is now included with China. So that was the vision then, by the Club of Rome, to have the world envisioned into 10 regions. We're going to get back to that soon enough. Isaiah 21 verse 11 and 12 says, Watchman, what of the night? Watchman, what of the night? How many times was this asked? Twice. That's significant. I want to get to that soon enough. I'm going to give you the first ask. Watchman, what of the night? The watchman said, the morning cometh, and also the night. If you will inquire, ye return come. So, the watchman is on the wall of Zion, watching in the night. And the question is asked him, watchman, what's of the night? And he says, I'm in night time now, but what is going to come next? The morning. So he says, the morning cometh, but also the night is where? Right with us right now. Brothers and sisters, we don't have to be doubtful. The great apostasy will develop into darkness deep as midnight. We are here, friends. We're now in the period of midnight darkness. How dark? Deep, deep darkness. But out of that darkness, God's light will shine, friends. Amen. To his people, God says, arise, shine, for the light is come. Lord. And the glory of the God is risen upon thee. We're going to spend the time first and look at the darkness first. So we're going to paint a picture here. So the first thing I want to paint on this picture here is this, friends. We're going to show here, friends, midnight darkness. So I put it on a timeline here, and I'm showing the period when the question is asked first as a watchman. Watchman, what of the night? His response is that we're in a period of midnight Darkness. Deep darkness. Friends, we are in a period of ever deepening midnight darkness. And the question is, how are we going to prove this to be the case? Well, let's listen to what we were instructed to do in Signs of the Times 1894. This is what we're instructed to do. God will have us study events that are taking place around us. Study what, friends? Study events taking place around us and compare them with the prediction of His Word. So God is saying, Watchman, have your eyes seen what's going on in the world, and have your Bible open, and compare what you see with what? What the Word of God says. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that this morning. We're going to, as watchmen, stand the walls of Zion. I'm going to look on the land and say, what am I seeing? I'm going to compare what we're seeing with the Word of God. In order that we may understand we are living the last days indeed. We want our Bibles and we want to know what's in them. The diligent student of prophecy will be rewarded with clear revelations of truth, for Jesus said, thy word is truth. Amen. So as we look, what are we seeing? We're seeing the coronavirus pandemic. Quite interesting. Late last year we got this report that out of Wuhan, China, some new type of respiratory illness was spreading amongst the populace. People were dying. And it seemed to be rapidly spreading to the point where, I checked before I came this morning, that up to 9 o'clock this morning when I last checked, this is John Hopkins' report, the worldwide case was 4.5 million. And the worldwide deaths was 205,000. And in this United States of America, the USA case was 1.4 million, and the deaths were in excess of 86,000. No, I don't want to be accused of speculation. All right, I don't want that. So I'm not going to get in a doubt whether or not this is man-made or launched. No. We're going to want more sure evidence. Winston Churchill made a very profound statement many years back. This is what he said. He says, never let a good crisis go to waste. Never let a good crisis go to waste. And a few years after that, many years after that, Rahm Emanuel explain what he meant, what that meant. So Rahm Emanuel says, you never let a serious crisis go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things you think you could not do before. Hey, that's interesting. So there's a principle there that says, never let a crisis go to waste. Because it gives you opportunity to do things you think you could not do before. So this is what we're going to do first. We're going to spend some time and look at the global response to the coronavirus pandemic. And let us also see if this is a crisis that is being used to push a certain agenda. Remember, Watchman, what do you see? A lion! Babylon, Roman Catholic Church system. And we see that system is in control of a world that is presently and is to be composed of 10 kings and one what? Kingdom. So let us see if this coronavirus is being used to fulfill an opportunity of things that would not be done before otherwise. So we're going to look at this in 4 settings. We're going to look at it from the perspective of a geographical restructure. Is the world really being restructured or to be restructured into 10 regions? We'll have to spend some time and look at that and see that this coronavirus is driving that agenda. What about political? Is the coronavirus driving a certain political philosophy and a certain political mindset? What about finances? Is it that our finances are changing and changing so drastically that after this, it will be a total different world order of finances. What about religious? You have to spend some time on that, likewise. What's religious driving up? Where are things going? What's the issue? What's the topic of discussion? So we're going to spend some time and go through these four. Global response to the coronavirus pandemic. So the first one. Watchman, what of the night? Watchman says there is geographical restructuring in response to the coronavirus. How so? Well, I have shown us here a long known and long tried and used principle that they call Hegelian dialectic. And you know what Hegelian dialectic is? If you want to move a mindset of people from a certain point to another point, you create two contending views. One you call the thesis and one you call the what? Antithesis. And you just rub them up together and then you get the synthesis, which is what you wanted initially. But you create a divide by creating a thesis and antithesis. So many years back we heard the thesis that it's going to be globalization. No borders and free market. I'm sure many of us heard that when we were in college and coming up. And that's the topic, globalization. No borders, free market. So a world with no borders. And that's being pushed right now by President Xi of China. But then we see now our anti-globalization push coming from our very own president. That says what? Control borders and control market. So we see the thesis and what? Antithesis. And we're discussing this on a geostructuring level. Geographically, how the world is restructuring based on this thesis of globalization and this antithesis of anti-globalization. So we're going to look at a few quotations here now. And let us see what the response to the coronavirus is. How is the coronavirus driving this agenda? Well, I'm reading from Global Research. This is an article by Kurko. This was March 2020 of this year. And the heading was the coronavirus crown jewel of the New World Order or crippling blow to globalization. And this was the argument that was being pushed. These changes will greatly shape the way that most people live. So the main difference between the New World Order and anti-globalization models are pretty much just the relationship between states. Listen carefully, friends. Which will either cooperate more closely on a global level, eschew cooperation, or concentrate on what? Regionalism. I remember what we discussed about the Club of Rome plan in 19th century was to about 10 what? Regions. So we're here and seeing here that their argument is this coronavirus issue is driving the world to look at the world in terms of regions. So not as far as globalization and not as far as anti-globalization, but let's go down the middle. Let's have a hybrid. Let's have a regionalization. Another important article I found. This is from The Nation. March 22nd, 2020. These are not my headings, these are their headings. I'm just sharing with you. From globalization to regionalization. Remember, the Club of Rome said in 1973 that the plan was to have what? Regionalization, 10 regions. But we have heard for the last 20 years that the plan was to have what? Globalization, but we are now counter what? Anti-globalization, and the synthesis is pointing towards what? Regionalization. So hear what The Nation said. But if, not the heading, from globalization to regionalization, question. But if the worldwide developments now being seen are any indication, we can expect, among other things, an accelerated retreat from globalization and its concomitant American global leadership, along with the hasting emergence of semi-autonomous regional blocks. So what are we doing, friends? As watchmen on the wall of Zion, we're comparing the occurrences that's going on in the world with what? The Word of God. So the Word of God says One kingdom with how many kings? 10 kings. Who is in control of that system? The woman, the papacy, Roman Catholic Church system. And this coronavirus we see is driving that mindset. And here I describe it here. One consisting of China and its client states, another created on Europe, and a third linking North and South America. It sounds like the plan that they had in mind from 1973. Very interesting. So we can clearly see, friends, and I won't be able to go into all these subheadings in great detail, that the thesis is globalization, antithesis is anti-globalization, but what's the resulting? Synthesis is regionalism, which is exactly what the plan was from 1973. Was to create a system of regionalization with 10 kings, 10 areas. And we see that there's a geographical restructuring now to aim towards fulfilling what the papacy desired from 19th century. We have to hurry on, friends. So the question is asked, Watchman, what of the night? Watchman responds, I see a political response to the coronavirus pandemic. How so, Mr. Watchman? Gordon Brown. Who's Gordon Brown? Previous who? Prime Minister of Britain. Yes? Gordon Brown calls for global government to tackle coronavirus. Are you hearing me, brethren? Gordon Brown has urged world leaders to create a temporary form of global government to tackle the twin medical and economic crisis caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Former Labour Prime Minister, who was at the centre of international efforts to tackle the impact of the near meltdown of the banks in 2008, said there was a need for a task force involving world leaders, health experts, and the heads of international organizations that would have executive powers to coordinate the response. A virtual meeting of the G20 group of developed and developing countries, chaired by Saudi Arabia, will be held Thursday. That's gone, because this was the 26th of March 2020. So the mindset is shifting now, friends. Why don't we have a global response with a global governance to respond to this health threat? But he didn't quite say what was the political structure that he had in mind. Well, this other article clearly made that point clear. The fascist politics of the pandemic. Friends, I'm just sensitizing you to the buzzwords that are being discussed right now. And it's going somewhere, friends. Syndicate. In stark contrast to the effective leadership shown by German Chancellor Angela Merkel, South Korean President Moon Jae-in, and Singapore's autocratic technocracy, the world's far-right nationalists have met the COVID-19 crisis with something not seen in decades, the fascist policy of disease. And no one typifies this brand of politics better than Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro. What are we saying, brethren? We say there's a fascist mindset that is being driven by this pandemic. Well, what is fascism? Let's define that first. A political philosophy or regime, such as that of the fascist state, that exalts nation often raised above the individual, and that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of opposition. Friends, we are there, and it's going to get worse. I wonder if we're listening, brethren. I'm not here as a watchman to give you something soft like porridge, friends. No, this is no porridge morning. This is a morning for some hard food. So yeah, this is an unusual sermon. Yeah, I agree with that. Because we're discussing fascism and all that on Sabbath morning. Praise the Lord! So we're seeing this coronavirus agenda is driving a fascist mindset. And we're seeing in Europe, coronavirus forces EU leaders to weigh nationalization option. That's a classic feature of fascism, where you nationalize the entities. So Italy has recapitalized its airline Alitalia, and France is considering similar moves to rescue affected companies. Now even Germany seems ready to use the ultimate weapon in the coronavirus battle, nationalization. Have we heard about, we're going to send some couple billions to the airline industry and the cruise industry and the, have we even heard that in our own country? So let me ask you a question. When billions of dollars is loaned to these industries, who own these industries? Interesting. The Bible teaches that he who is the one who lends the money is the one. The borrower is a slave to the what? The lender. That's the Bible teaches. So we see this mindset of this fascist mindset taking root in our very country. And it's going to get worse, friends. And people are going to say, we want a strong leader. Now this fascist mindset found its origin from the papacy, as Pius XI said in Quadragesimus Anno in 1931. You know what he said? He said, under fascism, property owners may keep their property titles and deeds, but the use of their property is, as Leo XIII wrote, common. Brothers and sisters, let me be clear and so clear that you can't misunderstand. As a watchman stand on the wall of Zion, I see a political change coming. That's here already. And the political change will be a fascist one with a dictator or leader. I see a situation where, yes, you can own your property, but the use of your property is common. Under fascism, property titles and deeds are intact, but the institution of private property has disappeared. Government regulations and mandates have replaced it. For this distribution between legal ownership and actual use, the fascists owe a debt to the Roman church state system. So what are we saying, friends? The woman that's riding the beast, her preferred political affiliation is what? Fascism. The woman is the one who rides what? The beast. So we're seeing this regionalization, restructure of the world. It's coming, friend, and it's here. And the woman going to say, my desired political system is fascism. You can keep your house and your car, but I determine how it's going to be used. Friends, I'm giving you as it is. Let's go further now. Watchman! What of the night? The watchman replied, I see a financial response to the coronavirus pandemic. How so, Mr. Watchman? Well, what I'm going to discuss now, you have heard some of it before, but I'm going to give you how close we are in the whole progression of time. So in 1988, it was published in The Economist, that's a world-renowned economic magazine. Get ready for our world currency. Are you see that, friends? Get ready for world currency. And they demonstrate the rise of this world currency in a very interesting way. They show an eagle with some type of token on its neck and dollars going up in flames. But let's see if we can put some meaning to this. What we see here, friend, is this eagle. The phoenix is a mythical bird. And they believe in this mythology of this bird is that this bird crashes, burns, but rises back up, renewed. So they are saying here, paper money is going to what? Crash and what? Burn, but what? A new system is going to rise up. A new system is going to rise up. And then they, very, very, very cute, they show this token around this eagle's neck. And it says 10 Phoenix 2018. Oh, this magazine was published in 1988. So they're saying in 30 years' time, we're going to what? Crash the system of paper dollars and do what? Rise up what? A new system. And they have this interesting circle with a dash through it. It's called, what do you call it? Phi. And phi is a symbol used when you're trying to characterize man-made works. The only church listed this morning. I know it's kind of heavy, but guess what? You're going nowhere, so stay right where you are. You're going nowhere. In your house, not a partial lockdown, you're not going anywhere. It's Sabbath. So the Word of God is making an important point. that in 30 years' time from 1988, paper money going to crash and up going to rise a new financial system. That's a man-made system. And the 10 around the sign that says this will be the system for all the 10 regions. So there's going to be a worldwide system of one worldwide currency. There's going to be no more finance, no more paper-based system. So the question we need to ask ourselves is this. Is the coronavirus driving this agenda to have a worldwide currency that's no longer paper-based? Let us see. So way back then, the IMF tasked the People's Bank of China to develop a financial product that linked digital currency with the financial system. Now, this I've discussed before, and I've put the link right here. I've put if you want to, you can go online. And you can watch this video. I discussed it in far more detail than I'm going to discuss it right now. What I'm going to discuss here is the product that that China Central Bank came up with. To create a system that's not paper money based, but a digitalized system. Now, if you don't mind, my brother, you can play the video for me now. Before you play, I'm going to tell us what we're going to see. We're going to see money in its old established state. Money as coins, dollars, silver and gold. I'm going to see a man running. And then in time, we're going to see a man start running a Masonic triangle. And paper dollars are going to start to come up. So money changes from what? Money changes from gold and silver to what now? Paper dollars, are you seeing? And then you're going to see a man come on the screen, and the US dollar going to come in the middle, and the finger going to come, a digitalized finger, look like a mechanical finger, it's going to swipe away the US dollar. So the US dollar is going to be no longer the world reserve. And what's going to be seen after that is everything coming up, all the commodities of the world coming up as what? Digitalized. My brother, you can play the video for me now. Thank you, my brother. We can switch back over to the PowerPoint. So we see as we saw that bridging, we saw this man running. Initially running, and we saw coins and gold coins and silver coins being the method of buying and selling. Then we switched to what? Paper based. Then we saw the US dollar came on the center, but the hand came and what? Swiped away. And then we saw all the commodities becoming now what? Digitalized. So paper system is gone in smoke, an uprising eagle. This is planned for all 10 regions. So what was planned in 1988, 30 years later, in 2018, the system was up and running. So the question we need to ask ourselves is now, how have this coronavirus pandemic hastened this fulfillment of the system of no longer dollar-based, but digitalized dollars? Well, a few weeks back we saw something that the world never saw before. A 2,000-point drop in the Dow. Coronavirus-induced fall in the world financial markets. And people lost a lot of money, but somehow we saw the stocks being bought up. I wonder who was buying the stocks. I wonder if it's the federal government. I know it's the federal government. We'll discuss it another time. So Congress said, we're going to have a $2 trillion stimulus package. And their first attempt to put the package together, Forbes magazine wrote, coronavirus stimulus offered by the House Financial Services Committee creates new digital dollar. I wonder if the church is hearing me. This was dated March 24th. Let me slow down. I don't think we're understanding what's going on here. So, let's put it in context. So 1988 to 2018, 30 years did pass, and the system was in place, as I showed you a while ago. 2 years after the system in place, we have this coronavirus pandemic. And the government said we're going to bail people out because they're going through a hard time. And they created a stimulus package, and within the stimulus package for the United States of America, the plan was to create new digital dollar. Now, the final version didn't have that in, but we know where they're going. So it says, and I'm reading from the Forbes, well-reputable magazine. The final version of the economic stimulus package offered by the Speaker Pelosi, the House Democrats, no longer includes the US digital dollar proposal. However, the language as proposed by Chairwoman Waters of the House Financial Services Committee still contains this language. Listen carefully, friends. Links to the original and updated stimulus bills with the latest language are at the end of the story. So, I'm going to give you some excerpts of what Forbes said the plan is to come. Listen carefully. And you must tell me if this is a good opportunity to use a crisis to drive an agenda. So I'm going to read from the Forbes magazine now, this magazine now. As markets continue to drop and the US looks to Congress for agreement on a massive stimulus package to save the economy from impacts of the coronavirus pandemic, the newest offer by House Democrats includes a very forward-looking kind of stimulus, the creation of a digital dollar, and the establishment of digital dollar wallets. So friends, paper money must go what? Up in smoke! And over must rise the phoenix. A new system. A digital dollar. With each person a digital wallet. What does that mean now? In what will send shockwaves through the cryptocurrency and blockchain industry, particularly for those following central bank digital currencies around the world. Friends, are you hearing the message? The issue of digital currencies is not just unique to the US, it's on China, but what? Central banks where? Around the world. It's coming, friends. Are you going to be surprised even closer than you think? This signals the US is serious in establishing infrastructure for central bank digital currency. Brethren, there will be a Fed coin. There will be a Fed coin. Goes on. A mandate also requires all member banks establish a pass-through digital dollar wallet to all customers eligible for the stimulus. Friends, think about what's going to happen. When this thing gets worse, it's going to seem to settle down, but it's going to get worse later in the year. And when there's hardships and hunger and people say we need some assistance, you think people are going to have a problem saying, I want my digital wallet with my digital dollars? It's coming, friends. The Federal Reserve banks themselves would also make available a digital wallet to any U.S. person eligible for the payments as well. Additionally, the U.S. Postal Service will aim to help unbanked individuals and those without proper ID to establish their identity be proved provided a digital dollar account. What does that mean? If they can use biometric and ensure whether it's going to use retinal scan or fingerprint or voice recognition or palm print, whatever, that you is you, and you're willing to join the system, you are there in the system. So what are we saying, brethren? We're seeing this coronavirus issue driving a link between biometrics and this digital blockchain system. So we're seeing a system here where your fingerprint, your retinal scan, your palm print, your voice recognition can allow you to enter this new system of digitalized currency. So we sit here and I will say, wow, Ella, you're blowing breeze. This is far away. Well, you're here for the wake-up call now. If you're asleep, you shall be awake now. Because May 5th of this year, 2020, the Central Bank of China has started their own system. So China begins trial of state-run digital currency in 4 major cities. May 5th, 2020, just less than 2 weeks ago. Friends, the Watchman on the wall of Zion is saying, Watchman, what do you see? I see a change in the world finances coming through this coronavirus pandemic, driving an agenda. How far, Mr. Watchman? It started already. Where, Mr. Watchman? In China. China begins trial of a state-run digital currency in 4 major cities. China started piloting its new digital currency in 4 major cities, including Shenzhen, Suzhou, Chengdu, as well as Yunnan, and areas that will host some of the events of the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. Friends, are you hearing that? So it's coming, friends. It's coming, friends. It goes on. State-run outlet China Daily also reported that it had been formally adopted into cities' monetary systems. Friends, it is here already. And one of the argument used is that the dollars were spreading disease. So why not have the dollars crash and burn and rise up a new system? Watchman, what of the night? Watchman say, I see a religious response to the coronavirus pandemic. How so, Mr. Watchman? Watch. Pope Francis blames coronavirus on nature having a fit over environmental damage. Let me read it a second time. Pope Francis blames coronavirus on nature having a fit over environmental damage. Pope Francis told a Spanish journalist on Sunday that he believes that the coronavirus pandemic is nature having a fit in response to environmental pollution, stating that curiously the planet has been very clean for a long time. The interviewer asked, is it possible that it is nature's hour of reckoning with us? Pope Francis answered, there is a saying that you surely know, God always forgives. We forgive sometimes, but nature never forgives. Fires, earthquakes, that is, nature is having a fit so that we will take care of nature. So we see the so-called religious person of the world that everyone look towards, the Pope saying what? There's a link between what? This coronavirus and mankind not being good stewards of the environment. So let me put here. So we have midnight darkness when the question is asked, Watchman, what of the night? Watchman answered, there is midnight darkness. And we have this coronavirus pandemic that's driving a geostructural agenda, a political agenda, a financial agenda, and a what? Religious agenda. But the question I guess is reasonable to ask is, where is this crisis heading? Where is it heading? Well, let's hear let's see if the Pope can assist us. So in 2015, Pope Francis called for an ecological conversion for the faithful in his sweeping new encyclical on environment called Laudato Si, or be praised, or praise be. He warns of harm in birds and industrial waste and calls for renewable fuel subsidies and energy efficiency. Now, I'm going to read you section 237 of the Pope's 2015 encyclical. And you make up your mind where this is headed. It says, Sunday, like the Jewish Sabbath, is meant to be a day which heals our relationship with God, which heals with ourselves, which heals with others, and which heals the what? The world. So what's the Pope's remedy for these so-called environmental calamities, including coronavirus? Establish a what? Sunday rest, a Sunday law. And that's said here in 2015. He echoed his voice at the United Nations General Assembly on the 25th of September 2015. He says, the misuse and destruction of the environment are also accompanied by a relentless process of exclusion. In effect, a selfish and boundless thirst for power and material prosperity leads both to the misuse of available natural resources and the exclusion of weak and disadvantaged. But he made it quite clear what the agenda was. Last events, page 129, verse 4, said something quite profound. Satan puts his interpretation upon events. And they, who are they, influential men, think as he would have them, that the calamities which fill the land are a result of what? Sunday breaking. Thinking to appease the wrath of God, these influential men, I believe the Pope is included there, make laws what? Enforcing what? Sunday observance. So some of you may not be so familiar and say, so what's the significance of this Sunday observance? Well, Revelation 13 verse 16 says, and he calls it all, both small and great, free and poor, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a what? Mark in their right hand and on their foreheads. What is this mark of the beast? What is this mark of the beast, Mr. Watchman? Let's not guess. Let's get it from the horse's mouth. The Catholic Record of London, Ontario, Canada, September 1st, 1923 says what? Sunday is our mark of what? Authority. The church is above the Bible, and this transference of Sabbath observance is proof of that fact. So friends, what are we seeing? We're seeing a confluence. We're seeing this coronavirus pandemic. And you must never waste a good crisis. So let's have a geostructural change to the world to accommodate these 10 world regions, as the Word of God says, and as the Club of Rome said in 19th century. Let us have a change in the financial system to a digitalized currency. Let's have a change in the religious mindset, that one that says, let's elevate nature above God, because guess what? Man's poor stewardship is what's causing the problem. Let's get back to Sunday rest to fix the what? Global environmental problem. And let's have a political mindset change. We need to have global governance, because this thing is in total confusion. So we need to have a fascist mindset. It's all coming together, friends. So friends, we see here that when the National Sunday Law is passed, the drive towards this agenda would have been achieved. But you see, friends, the Word of God says there'll be a mark in the right hand and the forehead. The right hand means chorus observance of Sunday because of needs of daily life. So I can think about that time where more and more disaster occurs. The pandemic come back in a second and third waves. People are losing their lives. The economy is totally shut down. I can just see some strong figures saying, let's get back to God. Because we have strayed away from God, and that's the reason why all these environmental disasters are going. We need to give the word a rest, a Sunday rest. And those who are cursed because their needs of daily life are marked in their right hand. And others who make willful, mindful observance of Sunday, contrary to God's plan. I'm talking at the time when it's enforced. Receive the mark of the beast in their forehead. But Isaiah says, brethren, Isaiah says in 21 verse 9, And behold, here cometh a chariot of what? Men with a couple of horsemen. And he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. How does Babylon fall? It's not guessed. 8 Testimonies, page 94 says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine, the wrath of her fornication. How is this done, Mr. Watchman? By forcing men to accept a spurious Sabbath. So as the Sunday law is passed, Babylon is fallen. She have gone contrary to God's will. And the word of God says, no man might buy or sell, Revelation 13 verse 17. Why no man might buy or sell? Because it's a digitalized system, and if you're not a part of the system, they shut you out. There will be no paper-based system. No credit card-based system. You access your account by your biometrics, your fingerprint, your retinal scan, or otherwise. So no buy, no sell, virgin. So we see the rearrangement of the financial system is driving to the point to enforce the Sunday law, the no buy, no sell. And friends, it gets worse. In Revelation 13:15 says, and those who choose not to worship into the beast shall be what? Killed. This might seem far-fetched, friends, but we are told in last day events, page 135, first paragraph. As America, the land of religious liberty, shall unite the papacy, enforcing the conscience and compelling men to honor the false Sabbath. The people of every country on the globe will be led to follow our example. How so? This so. Revelation 17 verse 13 and 14 says, these have one mind. These 10 kings have one mind. And give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. How so? By war with God's people. And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. So friends, what are we saying? As America leads out in the Sunday law, these 10 kings are going to fall in line. And God's people are going to be oppressed. No. I'm going to read a very interesting quotation I added this morning from 7 Bible Commentary to explain Revelation 17 verse 13 and 14. Let me go one more time. I'm going to read a very interesting quotation from 7 Bible Commentary that explains Revelation 17, 13 and 14. So what we have here, Revelation 17, 13 and 14, and here it is. I'm going to read a quotation and I'll explain that now. So Revelation 17, 13 and 14, quoted, just as I quoted a while ago. There it is. There's the explanation now. These have one mind. There will be a universal bond of union, one great harmony. And what, friends? Universal. All 10 kings will submit their power unto the woman who rides the beast, the papacy. A confederacy of what? Satan forces. And shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Thus is manifested the same arbitrary oppressive power against religious liberty. Freedom to worship God according to the dictates of conscience, as was manifested by the papacy, when in the past it persecuted those who dared to refuse to conform with the religious rites and ceremonies of Romanism. Brothers and sisters, we are going to go through a time of trouble. Yes. The Word of God makes it quite clear here, friends. Making it quite clear here, friends. Making it quite clear here. That there's going to be a shaking and a sifting, persecution and martyrdom amongst God's people. But brethren, kind of a dark note. I have to end with some light. I have to end with some light. The great apostasy will develop into darkness deep as midnight. But out of that darkness, God's light will shine. To his people, God says, arise, shine! For thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. Now is the time, brothers and sisters. Now is the time when this darkness is there. God people to do what? Arise, shine. Revelation 18 verse 1 says, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was what? Lighted in his glory. Who is this another angel? Let's not guess, friends. The great power of the Spirit of God, which lightens the whole earth. God is going to send his Spirit forth at a time of midnight darkness. So yes, friends, the another angel in the primary sense is the latter rain power, the Holy Spirit of God. But it's a secondary application. Great Controversy 604 tells us the movement symbolized by the angel coming down from heaven, lightening the earth with his glory. Friends, in the secondary sense, the remnant movement are the ones to carry the message to the world in this time of midnight darkness. And what's their message? The message was to bring more prominently before the world the uplifted Savior, the sacrifice for the sins of the world. It presented justification through faith in the surety. It invited the people to receive the righteousness of Christ. Brothers and sisters, the last message to be given to our world in deep midnight darkness. What's the word of tonight? Yes, darkness, midnight darkness. But oh, there arises a message. Oh yes, there arises a message of hope. A message that says what? Receive the righteousness of Christ. Amen. And that's the last message to go forward, friends. It goes on to say the work of this angel comes in at the right time to join the last great work. The third angel message, and it swells to a loud cry. What's the message? The message of Christ or righteousness. So, oh yes, friends, it's dark. It's going to get even darker. Oh yes, we see the geostructural changes. We see the political changes, the financial changes, religious changes, driven by this coronavirus. Yes, they are making full use of a crisis. But God is going to raise up a standard. In Revelation 7:2 make mention, I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. Who is this angel? Early writings, page 118, said the third angel. Third angel, the angel that brings the message of Jesus Christ or righteousness. Say the angel, brethren, he's going to seal the people of God. Seal them all, Mr. Watchman. He's going to say, hurt not the earth, nor the sea, nor the trees, till we have what? See the servants of God in their foreheads. We will have to make a conscious decision. How are we going to be sealed? What is the seal of God? Isaiah 8 verse 16 says, by the testimony, seal the law among my people, my disciples. What's the seal? The fourth commandment. In the fourth commandment resides the seal of God. It has his name, his title, and his jurisdiction. What's his name? Lord thy God. What's his title? Creator. He's the one who made heaven and earth. Where is his jurisdiction? Heaven and earth. So friends, we see here, friends, the fourth commandment is the seal of God. So why there's this push towards a common agenda for a Sunday law? God is raising up a standard, friends. Friends, it's dark. I agree it's dark. But it's hope. Why not enlist yourself in the cause of Christ as that remnant movement? To take the message of Jesus Christ or righteousness to the entire world. And when the message goes out, it's a call out of Babylon. Come out of her, my people. Revelation 18 verse 4 says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and ye receive not of her plagues. And brethren, many souls will come from the other denominational churches. And at the 11th hour will obey all the truth, because they have not set themselves in array against heaven's light, but lived up to all the light they have. While those who have a great light, Seventh-day Adventists, large privileges and opportunities, and have failed to live in the light and walk in the light, will drop out by the way. Not many are ranks to come to the front. There are many souls to come out of the ranks of the world. All of the churches, even the Catholic Church, friends, whose zeal will far exceed that of those who have stood in the rank and file to proclaim the truth heretofore. God is going to raise up a standard. God is going to say, yes, it's midnight darkness, but I am raised up a standard. Jesus Christ, our righteousness, the last message, the Lord Prime message, the saving message. God is going to call the people out, even in a time of deep midnight darkness. Yeah. God is going to call the people out, my brothers and sisters. There's going to come a point in time when the message has gone out and done its job. Revelation 22 verse 11 shall be fulfilled. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. He which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. Brethren, they're going to be a close of probation. Every man and woman would have made up their mind. Probation will close. And when probation closes, the watchman appeals about the second time. Watch this now, friends. If you look here, I've underlined the second. It says, watchman, what of the night? Watchman, what of the night? The second time. And the watchman said, the morning cometh, but also the night. If you will inquire, return, come. So the question is asked, what of the night? It's still night, but it's a different night now. How different? Here how different, friends. 6 Testimonies, 26nd paragraph says, God's watchmen are to stand on the walls of Zion and to give the warning. The morning coming, but also the night. The night wherein no man can work. Why? Because probation has what? Closed. So night is coming, friends, when what? No more work is to be done. And then Amos 11 verse 12 is fulfilled. Behold, the days come, say the Lord God, that I will send a famine in the land. Not a famine of bread, nor thirst for water, no, but of hearing the words of the Lord. Why? Because when they ask of the watchman, what of the night? Night still, but night how? The night where no man can work. Third gentleman have done his job. Probation has closed. Still night. But even no third message to hear. And Amos 8 verse 12 says, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to see the word of the Lord, and they shall not find it. Probation closed, because now's the time of salvation. Now's the day of salvation. Now's the time to accept the message of Jesus Christ for righteousness. So friends, let's put this on the chart again, friends. So here it is, friends. Don't miss it now, friends. So we see midnight darkness we were in now. The third angel must do its job and seal all those who want to be seen. Those who are coming in from the other churches. And those who are amongst us as Adventists must be seen now. And we see after the close of probation, the question is asked to the watchman again. Watchman, what of the night? Night indeed, when no man can work because probation has closed. Then the question goes up at second, third time. Watchman, what of the night? Watchman respond out. The what? The morning cometh. Oh, great controversy, 6:33 says what? Soon there will be a revealing of his glory. The sun of righteousness is about to shine. The morning and the night are both at hand. But for the morning, friends, the opening of endless day to the righteous, the setting down of eternal night will begin. Jesus Christ will ride in. Revelation 19 verse 11 says, and I saw heaven open, and behold a white horse. And he, Jesus, that sat upon him, was called faithful, and true, and righteous, and good. And he doth judge and make war. And he hath on his vesture and his tie and ring, King of kings, Lord of lords. Brothers and sisters, as the resting ones heard their petition before God, the veil separated them from unseen scenes almost withdrawn. The heavens glow with the dawn of eternal day. And like the melody of angels' sounds, the words fall upon the ear. Stand fast to your allegiance. Help is coming. Amen. Christ the mighty victor holds out his weary soul as a crown of immortal glory. His voice comes from the gates ajar. Lo, I am with you. Be not afraid. I am acquainted with all your sorrows. I have borne your griefs. You are not born against untried enemies. I have fought the battle in your behalf. And in my name, you are more than conquerors. Jesus is victorious, friends. Amen. Oh yes, friends, we're in a time of darkness. Midnight darkness. Oh yes, the agenda has been driven. There's a geostructural change of the world. Yes, friends, to fulfill their plans of having 10 kings and 1 kingdom. Yes, friends, the politics is changing likewise. It's shifting to a fascist mindset. All driven by this one, coronavirus agenda. Yes, friends, the finances is changing. China start their centralized digital currency. It's coming here soon. And the religious system is changing. We're linking the environment, saying that's the cause of all the confusion we're seeing. But God is raising up a standard. Amen. The message of Jesus Christ, our righteousness. The third angel message, brethren. And I will counter this darkness, friends. I will call a people out of Babylon. And when the call is completed, Probation is going to close, friends. And then it's going to be again, watchman of the night. Still night, but no man can work. Because probation has closed. And then watchman of the night. Morning coming. How so? Jesus Christ is on his way, brethren. Amen. Jesus Christ is on his way. Yes. And morning coming, my brothers and sisters. When Jesus Christ has come. Amen. My brothers and sisters, I've added some little more details to this slide. I want to take us for the last 30 seconds. Brothers and sisters, we need to prepare and move to our country homes now. We should have prepared already. We need to make preparation to move to our country homes now. And those of us who have our country homes in other countries, now is the time to go. As soon as the opportunity arises. Why? When the sun law passes, friends, and we can't travel anymore, we'll be stuck in this very unfortunate situation. Brothers and sisters, please, when the sun law passes, those of us who are still in the cities need to flee. We need to flee to somewhere that's prepared for us already. So when must we prepare? No. And when it comes to the time of this, no man can work because probation has closed. And it's a great time of trouble, and we're under that decree. We need to flee to the desolate places, brethren. And Jesus Christ will ensure that our bread and water is sure. Please, can we put this last slide back up again, please? Brothers and sisters, the question is asked. Watchman of the night. First ask. Midnight darkness is what of the night. Watchman of the night is night when no man can work. Watchman of the night, morning cometh. Because Jesus Christ is here. Mm-hmm. Brothers and sisters, this is a message of some stiff reality. There's also a message of hope and comfort. Yes. I wish I could have preached with more earnestness. I wish I could preach with more earnestness, but I'm not physically strong today. But God's grace is still, I believe, what is with the message. Amen. We have a decision to make, friends. They're going to push their agenda, friends. And let me just say something to us. This coronavirus is going to end in the summer. But in the fall and in the winter, it's going to come back with a vengeance like you have never seen. And much of what we discuss now, that's when it's going to be implemented. What you have to do it quickly. May God bless and keep us as we close off in prayer. Shall we pray?